Hello and welcome to the Philippines. Many of you have made comments over the last couple of years that you want to live in the province. You don't want to live in the city. Manila, Cebu City, Iloilo City. You want to live out in the smaller towns or even in the country. Uh, Provinces, the Philippines is divided up into provinces, so even the cities are part of a province. For instance, Cebu City is part of Cebu Province. But the word province often seems to have the meaning of country, more of a rural life. So that's how we'll use it today. And you have to think about that. What are your priorities? What type of life do you want? The slower paced life. This happens to be Bareilly. Bareilly has a population of about 74,000 people. It's about 55 kilometers from Cebu City. Takes an hour and a half to 2 hours on a bus, depending upon traffic. You can also take a number of jeepneys that direction. You can take minivans, which are called V-hire here, van hire. Or you can rent a taxi. A taxi will probably charge you between 1,500 pesos and 2,000 pesos to take you there. 2,000 pesos being about 40 US dollars. Anyway, the smaller towns offer some advantages. Generally, a little slower pace of life, a little more laid back, less pollution. Cleaner air. This happens to be a Saturday, a busy Saturday later afternoon. I'm walking right up here ahead of me is the market. 10 pesos for 1 cup of corn.
Yes.
Oh, what's that?
Cheese.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't usually put cheese on it, but that's okay. And that's boiling sweet corn. Okay, you don't have a cover, do you? Just like that? All right, very good. This is why I like to walk. You never know what you're going to come across on the side streets. Hello. 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 He might bite you. Is that hello? Ah. How old are they? You know?
5 years.
About 5 years?
Yes.
Ah. Hello. Hello. Back to the marketplace. And one thing about the size of the area that you will live in has a lot to do with what's available there. Bareilly does not have a shopping mall, for instance. They've got a public market and lots of other stores. They've got a couple hardware stores, number of lumber stores. The next bigger town just over the mountains, I think, would be Car, which is a decent sized town. They have a couple shopping centers, so you're not that far away from a larger city. They've got a hospital in Bareilly. It's a government hospital, and for anything real serious, you'd probably go into Cebu City or even up to Manila. Cebu City has a number of quite good hospitals, and they've built a couple new ones here in the last few years. These markets range in size, but usually they're pretty good size with lots of little alleys in between, and they sell everything from produce. A lot of the produce that comes into these markets comes from the the main wholesale market, for instance, Cebu City would be Carbone Market, downtown Cebu City. And those are the cheapest prices. And then people go out there with their trucks and they buy up a truckload of stuff and they bring them to their little store here in the market. So you pay a little bit more generally, not always. You need to make a profit, obviously. But you can buy clothes, you can buy tools, trinkets, and phones, and lots of food stands. Camotes Island, which is kind of on the going north out of Cebu City and then off to the right, off to the east, is a decent-sized couple islands. But there, for instance, they butcher a cow once, I think Sunday early morning. So if you want beef, you've got to be there very early to get some beef. I know a number of foreigners who live over there, and once every other week, twice a month, they come to Cebu City to buy the things that they want. The cost of electricity can vary by where you live. In Camotes Island, for instance, as of last I had heard, they were still using a diesel generator to produce their electricity. I think they're planning on running a line eventually from a larger power plant, but your electric costs can be substantially higher there than they are in Cebu, most parts of Cebu. Of course, depending upon how much you're using it. Your cost of housing should be substantially less in a province town than it is in the larger city, and there again, it's going to depend upon which town, which province. And how do you find a place to live? You go into town and start asking people. Filipinos are the most networked people in the world, probably, as far as sharing information. And they will know somebody who has a rental, or they'll know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who has a rental available. And the word will get out, and they will get you that information. It always helps to have somebody that speaks the local language, so that you can try to get all the details straight up front. Communication can be an issue, even though many speak some degree of English, and I would suggest also that you try to write down the details of your rental agreement so that there's not a misunderstanding later. If there are repairs that need to be made, plumbing, electrical, that type of thing, are you going to be responsible for them, or will they fix them? If you want to fix it up, paint, change some furniture, are they going to supply the paint and the labor, or will you have to purchase all that yourself? Bareilles is pretty close to the sea, and a lot of fishermen bringing their goods in from the sea, so a lot of that stuff's pretty fresh. At least early in the morning it is. I'm going to mention something here that is very important in the Philippines and many countries, and that is the concept of face, saving face. Confrontation is frowned upon greatly here, and you should be as diplomatic as you can if you have a disagreement about something. Many of us Westerners tend to be rather blunt, and sometimes that can come across as an insult if you insult somebody, especially in public, especially if you're going to live in that area. You can make an enemy, and when you make an enemy of one person, you have many enemies.
35, 35.
What is it?
Like this. You can send it out. Alina price is Tulingan ba? Tulingan. Tulingan. Tulingan bukan isda.
I don't. I'll bring my friend down later. We might get some food to take. That's one of those communication issues you'll run into. More some places than other, depending upon what province you're at. And I'm surprised how many people here speak 3 languages. Many of them speak a certain amount of English. Some speak very good English. Some people who I have a pretty good conversation with, they don't think they speak that good of English, but they seem to carry on a conversation with me rather easily. And so depending upon what part of the Philippines you're in, there are several different languages spoken in the Philippines, different parts of the Philippines. The Visayas generally is Bisaya or Cebuano, which are almost identical, I've been told. Hello. And so it always helps to have a Filipina with you to negotiate and try to get the information accurate. And this market on a Saturday, they've got lots of tricycles, pedicabs, which are the pedal tricycles, tricycads, I think some places they call them tricycads, something like that. Motorbike taxis, the hobble guys, and my friend tells me that yeah, they tend to go in different directions. They'll bring somebody in from the country, and they generally just go back in that general direction. And so you aren't going to grab one and have them take you wherever you want to go. You've got to find one. Some areas, tricycles and jeepneys are color coded. Certain colors go certain directions. Some are numbered, and certain numbers and letters on their front or side that means the routes that they go in. Busy Saturday, very interesting. Watching people, watching life go on here. One important thing about the Filipino culture, generally, they are much more laid back, much more patient. They're not in a hurry. And I've read some of the same things about like Costa Rica and Panama. Is that in the U.S. and probably many other nations as well, we are so used to getting fast food fast, getting customer service to come out and take care of our issues very quickly, relatively quickly. And things take time here. It's dealing with, for instance, the telephone company. It's taken me a month to get a telephone transferred 2 different times. And nobody gets excited about it. So if you're the impatient type, you may get a little frustrated here. You just need to understand that. Slow down a little bit. You're probably not going to change the Philippine culture. You might change a few people in your sphere of influence, but they will. It's going to be easier if you change and you slow down a bit and start understanding and adapting to the culture, because they don't want to. They will tell you. The Westerners, especially people from the USA, always busy. They don't have time to live life, and they don't want to become that way. Filipinos are also very quick to laugh. You will hear laughter any place you go. Virtually, and quick to smile and greet you. Most places in the world, people do not make eye contact with you. You're walking down the street, and most people in the world do not make eye contact and greet you. Here in the Philippines, I've found that most people will make eye contact, and they will greet you either verbally, hello, good morning, good afternoon, or sometimes it's just the quick raising of the eyebrows. Just raising of the eyebrows means means yes or hello. It's acknowledging you, and some Filipino friends that I have, they think it's funny that I say hello to so many people because they don't generally do that. But 99% of the time, I get a very friendly reply back.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Where are you going? And they often want to tell me, take number such and such. Take this number of jeepney to get there. And I usually have to tell them, no, I'm walking.
Hello.
And they'll say, no, sir, it's too far. And I'll say, no, it's not so far. But anyway, you're living in a different country, a different culture, and I know a couple Westerners here who live here for a number of reasons and stay here for a number of reasons, but they are a little bit miserable because they continue to insist that Filipinos should be more Western, more American. They should they shouldn't be so laid back. They shouldn't be so relaxed and passive. And you can make a case for some of that, but they don't want to be. They don't want to be like the Western cultures. Work, 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 always working. They want to take time to live. I had a Mexican fella. He was a U.S. citizen down in Arizona. He worked for me for a number of years, and in fact, I've had a couple of Mexicans tell me the same thing. That we're not like the average American, trying to always pressing to get ahead to make more money. We want to do our job. We want to go home and enjoy our family, and that's just as important as our job. Here's the Town Plaza, and that's usually a very important spot in these towns and cities. Lots of activities. They've got a basketball game going on over to the left, and people just sitting and enjoying the day. Filipinos tend to do things in groups, and that's one of the reasons I'm often being asked to go along different places with a group of people, and that's fine. It's different, traveling with yourself or with one other person is one thing, but when you start traveling with a group, you've got it can be a lot of fun, often is a lot of fun, but it also can be a little more complicated because people want to do different things, go different places. I'm not sure how hard that ball is, but I suspect it's going to sting a little bit when they hit somebody. It's like tag with a ball or something.
Video camera.
Churches are also a big part of the culture here in the Philippines, whether it be in the big city or the country. And I think there's over 80% of the people are Catholic. You'll find a lot of Protestant churches in the bigger cities as well, and some out in the countrysides, different islands, different denominations. And
Hello. Good morning.
anyway, this is right outside the church on a Sunday, and lots of food stands set up, and lots of activity going on. There's a big park right off to the right there. People practicing their soccer, their football. Smaller towns usually don't have a McDonald's or Jollibee or anything like that. They did have an Angel Burger place, hamburgers and hot dogs. They're pretty thin. Buy one and get one for 26 pesos, about 50 US cents. I also found a place, Cafe Maron, that served brewed coffee, pizzas, sandwiches, and that sort of thing. They're right across from the Shamrock Hotel on the main street. What I've found, many expats, many foreigners that come here, they end up moving in the areas where their girlfriend lives, which would make sense. And lots of buses that go through here, different companies, and you just flag them down certain parts of town and get on. I think it cost us about 80 pesos from Cebu City a piece for that trip. Cebu City here, about, well, it was a little less than 2 hours. Traffic wasn't too bad. But you want to consider the type of lifestyle that you want, and if your girlfriend and her family, his or her family, live in the province, what type of province, what are services are available there. If you need to go to immigration, you're probably going to have to go to the bigger cities, Dumaguete, Cebu City, Iloilo City, Bacolod City. So you have transportation costs. Certain things you're going to have to go to a larger city to the supermarkets to get. Anyway, just some ideas about province life there. A look around. Thank you for watching. Please like, please share the video. Please subscribe. Safe travels, and we'll see you next time.